We are back on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk 1180, 1230 KGEO, and 1410 KERI. And we're having a conversation with John Guandolo, the former subject matter expert for the FBI. John, I actually read a couple of pages of the book last night. It was online. And in the couple pages I read, I learned some interesting things. I didn't realize that Shariah means the path. But there's actually a divide there where you've got part of the Muslim community that doesn't look at Sharia law as, or they look at it almost as a guide, but the other side, which is the extremists, and they're the ones that look at it more like a total lifestyle that takes over everything political, everything down to the way you dress and everything, and that's the side of the equation that we have to be concerned with. Is that a correct assessment?
I would. You're on the right path. I would put it this way: as a national security consultant, I often say, and for folks who will see me next week, they'll hear me say, my job is not to determine what true Islam is or isn't, or what individual Muslims believe or don't believe. That's really not my business. What my business is to look at a threat and look at the doctrine that they say they're fighting for and evaluate it in a factual manner, because that's what our national security professionals should be doing. And what I am saying is by not understanding their doctrine and not understand the Islamic movement led by the Brotherhood in the United States and globally, we're completely missing it, and it means all of the intelligence products that we're putting out, especially at the strategic level, are flawed. As a matter of fact, they are necessarily flawed because we're not taking into account the very reason that they're fighting. So let me break it down in 40 seconds or less. The nation states that are supporting this effort, which are quite a large number of them, of the Islamic nations, the groups that we call terrorist groups, they're jihadi groups like Al-Qaeda, Hamas, and there are hundreds and hundreds of them around the world, and the groups like the Muslim Brotherhood and associate groups, Tablighi Jamaat, Jamaati Islami, and others. They are all working for one purpose, and they state it, and that is to reestablish the global Islamic State, which they call a caliphate, under which Islamic law is the law of the land. So they seek to impose this foreign law, Islamic law, on everyone. Now, all Islamic sources, whether they're first-grade textbooks or junior high school textbooks here in the United States or overseas in Europe or in Asia or in the Middle East, they all, as well as the formal doctrinal books, all say that Islam is a complete way of life, political, social, military, religious, all governed by Islamic law or Sharia. And 100% of all published Islamic law, 100%, all requires jihad until the entire world is subordinated to Islamic law. And 100% of all published Islamic law, 100%, defines jihad only as warfare against non-Muslims. So as a national security consultant, I have to look at that, as do my colleagues, and say, okay, so when Al-Qaeda quotes Islamic law in furtherance of what they're doing, we have to look at it because it's real, and it's real law. It's real published law, and it's published in the United States in English and in Europe in English, and quite frankly across the Muslim world in English, because many of the largest countries like Pakistan, India, Indonesia, English is the primary language of the legal system because many of those places were British colonies. So it's very clear to anybody that decides to pick it up and read it. And what we're finding is in the government, people are dismissing it, saying, well, they don't really mean that. And I say, well, that's not my concern. My concern is there's an enemy that is killing people, that is now overthrowing governments, and that is attacking the United States, saying this is our doctrine. Our responsibility is to look at the doctrine and see how it affects them on the battlefield and here in the United States. And what you'll find is they are following it to the T. They use it as their guide, and it's what they seek to impose on all of us. So whether you think they can do it or not is irrelevant. they are doing it, and whether they succeed or not, well, we'll see. But they're certainly doing it, and our job as professionals, or the job of people in the military and the intelligence community and law enforcement, is to at least take a look at it. And I think it's fair to ask people to take a look at it. And right now in the U.S. government, not only is there no place where it's being taught, the places where it has been taught, to include at the Joint Forces Staff College recently, the FBI, those training materials have all been purged in the last 4 months, and you won't see it being taught anywhere in the government.
Scary.
That's kind of where we are.
We're having a conversation with John Guandolo, subject matter expert for the FBI, and John will be speaking here in Bakersfield next Monday at 6 o'clock at Hodell's. To find out more, look up actbakersfield@gmail.com.
John, we have the Muslim Brotherhood, and we have the Muslim Sisterhood. And we have a former Jewish senator named Weiner who was left Congress in disgust. And he's married to a Muslim who's a member of the Muslim Sisterhood, who is also the primary assistant to Hillary Clinton. How does this impact the U.S. internationally, with her being there with Hillary?
Well, I would say that is a significant concern, because she is as you just mentioned, a very close advisor to the Secretary of State. But I would also point, she is one of dozens of senior Muslim brothers in North America who are advising senior levels of government. So let's kind of go around the block in 30 seconds or less. You've got the president and the two main directors for the Islamic Society of North America working directly with the Secretary of State, the National Security Council, the Deputy National Security Director for the United States to the President of the United States. ISNA is working with major religious organizations in the Catholic, Protestant, evangelical community, with the Jewish community. And it is the largest Muslim Brotherhood front group in North America. It is an unindicted co-conspirator in the largest Hamas trial in U.S. history, the United States versus Holy Land Foundation for Relief and Development. The prosecutors, i.e. the U.S. government, the Department of Justice, in court memorandums stated that they are a fundraising arm for Hamas, which is a designated terrorist organization. And when they appealed having their name on the unindicted co-conspirator list, the presiding judge, the federal judge, said there is significant evidence that ISNA, NATE, and CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, are tied to Hamas front groups and to Hamas itself, and that was upheld by the appellate court as well. So these are not just random ad hominem attacks; these are facts and evidence of organizations. And the fact that the National Security Council for the United States works with these people is, some have called it criminal. That's a crime, and the Supreme Court has said that to just teach a class on, how to wash dishes to a known terrorist entity is material support, because you can't discern between kind acts or mundane things and the financial and support of the violence that terrorist groups do. So to allow a Hamas fundraising organization to work with the National Security Council, the State Department, and by the way, the same guy, Mohammed Majid, the president of ISNA, is also on the Homeland Security Advisory Committee. That's for the United States Department of Homeland Security, advising Secretary Napolitano. I mean, I don't know how you look at that in any way that you can't paint that to be sane, in my professional opinion. But that's just a snapshot, and that kind of gives you an idea. It's not just, I get having Huma on the Secretary of State's staff like that is dangerous. There are many more senior, more powerful Muslim brothers in much more senior positions.
No, we're running out of time, but I want to ask you a quick question. In the prior election, where President Obama was again against the Arizona senator, Obama made a statement on TV that he appreciated the fact that John did not bring up his Muslim religion. What's your comment on that regarding President Obama saying he was a Muslim?
In a minute or less.
I just I don't necessarily have an opinion on what he is or what he isn't. I do know that his policies, and again, I just look at it from that factual basis. His policies are clearly pro-Hamas, pro-Muslim Brotherhood, anti-Israel. Reducing the Navy, the Marine, the Army, our nuclear forces, working with and reaching out to serious enemies of ours, thinking we can negotiate with people who are bent on our destruction. I find that to be extremely dangerous. I get that question a lot, and I just say, from a national security standpoint, it doesn't matter because his policies are clearly, pro Iran, pro Pakistan. These are nations who are definitely set against us.
John is going to be here in Bakersfield next Monday at 6 o'clock, June 4th. Check it out. Look up actbakersfield@gmail.com. John, looking forward to meeting you and seeing you on Monday night at Hodell's.
Thanks. I appreciate you spending time with me and allowing me to chat with you.
And we'll see you in 167 hours on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk 1180.